Hey everyone, welcome to episode 45 of AI GTM Talks. My name is Mani Iyer, and today we have a really, hopefully, interesting episode for you all. To clay or not to clay? That's the question. And so, super excited to have our CRO, Srivatsan, and our head of products, Raabia Thakur. The three of us are going to be tackling this. So hopefully, interesting area to kind of, delve into. Now, Sri, how are you doing?
Doing great, Money, and thanks for having me on the call. It's exciting. It's a really good topic. So maybe I can kick it off by asking you, Money.
Yeah.
There's so much
Sri,
noise. Yeah,
there's definitely a lot of noise, but let me actually quickly frame this whole talk series for the folks watching, and then we can get into it. And Rabia, how are you doing today?
Hi, Mani. Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
awesome. So folks, we do these talks every Thursday. It's LinkedIn Live, and we spend about 45 minutes doing a deep dive into different areas of how AI is transforming go-to-market as we know it. We bring on either highly, seasoned tech CEOs who do a deep dive in a specific area. We bring on growth leaders, revenue leaders to talk about how they're transforming GTM with their companies. We also bring on experts who are, really subject matter experts in different aspects of AI for go-to-market. Um, that said, as Sri was just getting into it with us, we really wanted to get into the topic for today, which is to clay or not to clay. So, Sri, you wanted to kick it off. So please go ahead.
no, I mean it's. I think Money is very topical.
Yeah.
When we talk to customers and prospects, there's a lot of noise in the market. There's lots of different technologies, lots of niche players. Every day there's outreach on this and that.
Yeah.
So, question for you. Let's start off by a broad question. How do you look at something like Clay and how it fits into the landscape, specifically around signals-based technology?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good one because clay has really, popped up, in the last couple of years, right? I mean, and a lot of people know about them. They're become really well known. The fundamental problem they've solved, in my view, is that uh, in go to market, you have to bring together so much of very valuable signals and data, and then you need to be able to operationalize all of that data and signals in a way that you can really, identify the right in market buyers and prospects and be able to reach out and engage them and so forth. So there was an earlier version of a product that ZoomInfo had called, um, Ringlead. And so I view Clay as a more modern version of Ringlead. It's got the spreadsheet type of paradigm. It's got a way for you to build business rules and logic within these, on and on. And then you have ways to start making calls into AI, LLMs and through APIs, and then to be able to build personalized message sequences, enrich data, and so forth. So their strong suit is, in my view at least, right, is data enrichment, and then they do a bunch of other things. Now, the key thing is though, Clay, in my view, is certainly being designed for somebody a little more analytical, technical, not so much as the end users. Be it a growth marketer, demand marketer, a sales manager, and so forth. So I know we also have a few slides. I'm going to put that up, and then we can continue the conversation. So and I know Rabia, you're raring to go to show some demo stuff. We've got teed up folks. So it's not going to be just us talking. You're going to see some real life stuff in terms of some signal based tech. We have our own signal based tech. Rabia, I know you've got Clay teed up so people can see for themselves. What can the user experience look like for folks who are just lay marketers who don't want to go deep in the weeds, and then for kind of for other folks who are willing to and more than happy to kind of go deep, do a deeper dive. So let me share my
Yeah.
screen and then we'll keep going. Yeah, Sri, back to you.
Yeah, I was going to say we are going to definitely talk a lot more about signals tech, but let's use a customer lens. Can you,
Yeah,
Money, share how, if I were an SMB customer, how does this
right.
all come together? Maybe you can take that as an example because I want to see if I were a customer and I'm trying to put this together. How do I piece these things together? So maybe you can share it. Let's start with an SMB customer first.
Yeah, for sure. So I think you're right. I think Sri, we're going to kind of piece it up, right? We're going to talk about SMB. What is the landscape of tech and tools in the SMB space, and then we'll get into the mid market later in the discussion. So let's start with SMB. This is certainly our view and our take on the SMB side, and hopefully this is coming through, right? So Um, we have, as you know, Sri, and for the folks listening, we have our own signal-based tech. We call it the Quanzu Signals Hub. And the role we play in the SMB space certainly is where you can unify and enrich, signals. We have support a variety of signals, person-level visitor identity data, which is de-anonymized signals, warm leads from your website. We have off-site intent leads from across the web, 90,000 different media websites, where you can identify at a person level who's interested in your product or solution. We have social signals. We just recently rolled that out and making that available for people. And then the ability to monitor all these signals. And we are also got table stakes account intelligence, who's coming to our website at a personal level. So all the signal data, first party, third party, being aggregated, build signal based segments. We're able to do that natively in our tech. Where we see Clay being super useful in the SMB space then is the complementary set of niche signals, right? So it might be some very kind of niche signal where you need to do some scraping and bring that data back, do some enrichment, do some cleanup, and then to be able to operationalize it by then connecting from Clay to some other tool like an N8N, which is a workflow tool, and then to be able to plug it back into the customer CRM, customer's marketing automation system, and so forth. So the stack we're seeing certainly in the SMB space is kind of like this, where we play. Some people, of course, are trying to do natively, where they go from the market automation tool into something like Clay and then try to do some enrichment and so forth, is what we're seeing, Sri. Now, maybe if I think this might be interesting for people, maybe at this point we can have Rabia kind of show the kind of the two different experiences, right? From a user perspective, when they have a signal-based tech like Quanzu, which is really designed for the growth marketer, demand marketer, and the sales manager. And then they can see what the experience is like in Clay, which is really designed for the GTM ops or ops person to build some data enrichment workflows or some personalization stuff. What do you think? Is that a good next step?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I think obviously, most people know that, it's important to have a user-friendly solution for signals. So,
Right.
Rabia, if you can show what the difference between the two are, that'll be good for people to get a perspective on that.
Yes, sure. So, okay, so I'll start with a quick overview, if you're able to see my screen. So this is the Clay interface. So it's
Yeah.
morely like Mani, you pointed out correctly. It's more for the technical people. So they have all this stuff in terms of spreadsheets, and they can use AI or add formulas and also more technical stuff here. So it requires a lot of manual things for the user to do. Plus, it's a
Yeah.
lot complex as well. So then. Similar to what you have in spreadsheets, you'll need to create some formulas or use AI to have some logic applied so that you can make sense of the data here. Otherwise, everything here will be in terms of, say, tables, and then you can split it up and then you can run campaigns over it. And in
Yeah.
contrast to that, if I go into the Guangzhou platform, it is very straightforward. All the signals are unified at one place. So we have multiple signals. So for example, you have website warm leads, offsite intent leads, account intelligence, contact monitoring, and now social monitoring. So everything is combined together, and you will be clearly able to differentiate what signals are present. And then, if you go into, say, AI Playmaker, I'll quickly show you here as well. So
Mhm.
if you want to, in contrast to Clay, where you'll have to go into each field and create some formulas and all, here it's very straightforward, some English language prompts. You can create a segment with, say, website warm leads and write your formula, write your criteria here in simple English, and it will automatically create a segment. So this is more automated in terms of and very easy to use interface. for creation of segments, for using signals, or then finally delivering these signals to some other platform for outreach and campaigns.
Yeah, no,
So
I agree,
clearly,
Rabia. So Sri, I'll
go
make a
ahead.
point and then I'll turn it over to you. I think
Sure.
one additional very important point for people to understand is, at least my experience, if you go into Clay, you as a GTM engineer, RevOps, there's so much tribal knowledge out there as to which data provider is the best in class for certain data feeds. Who should I go to for a work email? Who should I go to for a LinkedIn, right, URL? Who should I go to for converting a consumer email to a work email? We've kind of taken away a lot of that tribal knowledge needs that otherwise GTM engineers and RevOps people would need to know. And now we're just giving the data pre-built, pre-packaged, the highest quality data at an attribute level to every customer. And so there you go. I think, Rabia, you're showing how you
Yes.
can literally, we have all the data sources. We've got the waterfall enrichment built in, but people don't have to do it over and over and over again in every single Clay table, which to me, it just doesn't make sense. But that's what's happening these days. And there's so much chatter out in the universe, and certainly on LinkedIn about, hey, this guy is better, that guy is better. There's a lot of things that people are constantly trying to figure out, and it just has so much manual effort, wasted effort, rather than pursuing their business goals of just getting ready to go pre-built operationalized data that they can just take it to the next step. But yeah, Rabia, back to you.
Yeah. So yes, so enrichment as well, like you mentioned, so they don't have to do anything. Everything is inbuilt in Quanzu. So the best data source, the best data that is being provided for each field that we have. So,
Right.
and in Clay, you'll have to do manually. You'll have to select the providers and then enrich based on that.
Correct. For example, just to give people a sense, we have 4 different resolution partners who resolve at a person level. Who's this person that landed on my website? We have 15 different data enrichment partners, literally at a field level, and that's a different partner in different kind of stacking, if you will, right? Depending on what we find is the best high quality data we've seen across all of our customers. So all that then the work has been done so that they literally can just use the leads data fully and it's fully ready to go. Website leads, offsite leads, social signals, and the list goes on. But Sri, back to you.
Yeah, I know. Having spent the last few months here at Guangzhou, I think you guys touched upon the 2 or 3 things that struck me. First of all, if I were a small or medium customer or even a mid-market customer, I would be dealing with 1 or 2 data partners. And so the waterfall that we have built to bring together the resolution and the unification across multiple data providers is a huge value add.
Yeah.
And it's very clear that this tool is built for the growth marketer. You don't need a lot of RevOps support. It's intuitive. It's easy to use. In today's world, people want to run quickly, execute to
Yeah.
the next step. The
Right.
signals have to be acted quickly. We bring in the signals which are very current within the last 24, 48 hours, and we want the
Yeah.
growth marketers to act quickly and not have to wait for RevOps to build something. And that
Yeah.
intuitiveness and ease of feel is really something that
Yeah.
customers of ours have also talked about a lot.
Got it. Yeah. So Sri, I think let's take just 30 seconds. Rabia, can you show people the offsite intent leads that we have based on topics of interest? Because this is very unique. From what I know, it's you don't get this data in Clay. Right. Go ahead.
Yes. So just to start with, so yes, so you need to, so offsite intent, this is basically you search for certain keywords. If people is researching for your similar kind of products or solutions across the web, and you want
Yeah.
to know who is researching, so that is
Yeah.
what offsite intent leads are. So
Yeah.
to start with, you would need to configure your intent topics. What are your
Hmm.
topics of interest, and you can
Hmm.
just configure those here. So even if
Hmm.
you check the wizard out here, it is very straightforward, simple to use. And once you add the topics, then you have certain filters, uh,
Hmm.
ICP, firmographics, persona, based on what will give you the leads.
Yeah.
Then this is a step where you will start getting the leads. I'll quickly
Hmm.
show you.
Right. So you can unlock individual leads and it's at a person level. So it's an actual person with first name, last name, work email, LinkedIn, on and on, right? That sales can
Yes,
pursue.
yes.
Yeah.
So you can review those leads first because there will be a lot of leads coming out based on the filters that you applied. So
Yeah.
out of these, if you see, we have blurred out the account and the PII information, name, email, and so on. But you have enough information, you know, what is the title of the person, your seniority of the person, industry, revenue, company size, or the location.
Yeah.
So based on these criteria, so they can select or prioritize and start unlocking these leads. And once
Yeah.
you unlock, you'll start receiving these leads in the Signals Hub and along with the other signals as well.
Yeah.
And it will have all the PII information, first name, last name, LinkedIn, work email, and so on.
Got it. So I think now let's be clear, Sri, in the SMB space, by the way, we coexist with Clay, right? So people actually take, use our tech, they get all these signal data, they are actually feeding it into Clay so they can do further steps in Clay for, building personalized messages. Rabia,
Yep.
maybe you can show folks how we actually integrate with Clay, right? Because you can go into any one of these workflows, and I believe there's a step in leads delivery where you can deliver these leads into Clay.
Right. So there are multiple ways where you could deliver your leads, but yes, it's very straightforward. You connect it to Clay
Yeah.
and set up your filters like frequency, 4 hours, 8 hours, and the you just need to enter the link of that Clay table where you want the
Yeah.
data,
Right.
and that's it. You can test it, and you can start receiving all this data in your Clay table automatically.
Got it.
That's
Got it.
great. That's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Look, I mean, I think that's a really good quick summary of how we are pulling all the different types of signals into a very intuitive, marketer-based solution with hooks built in to Clay, and that would be super useful for SMB. I want to maybe pull the conversation back to say, Mani, are you seeing a difference when you go higher up the chain? Let's say with a mid-market customer. I know recently you've been working closely with some mid-market customers too, and is there a difference in how they should be approaching it in your view? With respect to potentially what the tech stack should be, which, and how that flow should look like, because you get more specialized as you get bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, let me bring up a slide and then we can talk through it in terms of what we're seeing as difference in kind of the overall AI go-to-market tech stack, right? SMB versus mid-market. So thanks, Rabia. Hopefully, the demo was helpful for folks, right, watching. So I'm going to share my screen again. Let me know if this is coming through. It's doing some funny stuff. So let me stop sharing. Let's try again. Sorry, folks. Share. Okay, there it is. So the key differences that I see going from SMB to mid-market, right? So what happens in the mid-market is people need, Rabia, I think you've stopped sharing your screen, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so in the mid-market, Sri, what we're seeing is suddenly people want more specialized components. It's not an all-in-one, right? So we are seeing, for example, they are using something like our Signals Hub, where they're trying to get best-in-class, high-quality signals all into a hub. Then the Signals Hub ends up feeding further downstream components. There is we'll look at what the stack looks like, but there's another bit which is more like a broader prospect intelligence hub that feeds another like an engagement stack, which is a set of components to actually do the personalized messaging and the outbound. So it ends up being more specialized as you go along. They definitely are very interested in having all the signals in one place, because the big challenge for them is as they scale up, as their websites have so much more traffic. We're talking literally, right, hundreds of thousands to millions of unique visitors. Certainly tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands a month, millions of visitors a year. Certainly one of our clients, as you know, one of our key mid-market accounts has that kind of a scale. Things change a lot. They want the ability to go get the signal and then action at scale. They want less dependency on RevOps. So automation is more advanced, segmentation is more, micro segments and targeted, and then the personalization again needs to be very, very strong. So this is kind of what, excuse me, what we see as the stack, and as you can see, it's a new kind of stack, in just going into mid-market. Are you all able to see this? So,
Yeah.
So notice that now the Signals Hub it is essentially feeding all the signal data into a prospect and customer intelligence hub, which has other data, which has a marketing database data, which has form fill data, which has e-commerce cart data if they have like a shopping store. It can have, right, a variety of other data sources all funneling into the hub, and that feeds into an orchestration layer. And the orchestration layer is where you end up having multiple other components. Very common we see is NA10 type of like a workflow tool. We do see something like a very specialized personalization engine, which I'm going to show you next, right? And then we'll show you how that feeds into outbound sequence engines, and then from there you can actually go into the CRM from there, and then from the CRM you go into sales outreach tools like an outreach or a sales loft, right? So that's kind of the stack we're seeing, Sri, as you go kind of more and more into the mid market. So this is the one particular kind of company we'll dive into a little deeper. We literally are rolling this out over there, our tech. And so their scale is immense. And this, by the way, this 30,000, by the way, is a fraction of where they are going to get to. I mean, this is just where they are starting, to be honest, in the next couple of months, because they have millions of visitors coming into their website. So the scale is immense. So with that, so let me bring up this other deck because it really gets into what does it look like in that kind of a setup. So let me know if you can see this. I'm gonna stop sharing this for a second and see if there's a way to share this other deck that I've got. Entire screen. Boom. Share. Is this coming through?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see if I can do this. Sorry, folks. Tell you what, let me entire screen. The problem I'm having is I'll just talk it through, guys, because I was trying to bring up this other slide which explains the more elaborate stack. But the point I want to make is already kind of summarized in here, which is there is a signals hub feeds this intelligence hub, which is where all the data comes together. That goes into a engagement stack which has workflow, a workflow component where you actually do the scoring logic, account and lead scoring, and so that you can prioritize the accounts and leads that are going to be actioned. That feeds segments into another component which which we're building out for the customer using Octave HQ. And Octave HQ is kind of like the brain where you feed in the use cases, the case studies. You have the personalization rules in terms of how you're building out the personalized message sequences. That's feeding Lemlist. And so Lemlist is where the actual emails are going out. And then the LinkedIn sequences are going out. And then you also have, other kinds of messages, WhatsApp and text messages. And that then, of course, when you get positive responses, then feeds into the CRM. And then you're teeing up the right kind of really warm, actioned, activated data that then can be fed over to the sales team. So, Sri, I hope that explains. And that entire workflow, right, that there isn't, it's all basically different specialized components. And at least, we're seeing in these accounts, they don't necessarily feel the need for something like Clay, which works very well in the SMB space, but they're looking for more specialized components. Over to you.
Yeah, that's useful. That's useful. So we've talked about this. So it's interesting that there is a difference in context between SMB and mid market, and you really laid it out very well, Mani, in terms of the need for specialization as you go into mid market companies.
Yeah.
I'm sure the audience is thinking out there. It would be useful if you could, share at a very high level where Kwanzaa focuses and where, in your view, Clay focuses. So if I were a layman and looking at when do I talk to Kwanzaa and when do I talk to Clay, is there a big picture you can share? There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, look, we've really focused on aggregating buying signals, right? We've made a clear decision that there will be other specialized tools for example, the personalization component. We also have taken the position that in the mid-market, the account scoring and lead scoring and the scoring logic it again gets very custom from customer to customer to customer. And so we found that certainly that piece typically gets built into a workflow tool or a logic, definition tool like an N8N or Make or similar. So to us, it didn't make sense to try to jam it all in and pack it all in, right, into our tech. So our tech, we are just trying to be best in class, best of breed for all the kind of signals people would want. Kind of the one-stop shop for the pre-built waterfalls. So that's why we want to continue to enrich all the different back-end data partners that we've got for resolution, for enrichment, all the different kind of channels, all the different social channels. So that's kind of our view. And then we want to basically provide a complete lead record, if you will, or a prospect record, kind of a 360-degree prospect profile record. In fact, we are also doing what's called ID syncing, where you can actually sync the identifier for our record with identifiers of, say, Adobe Analytics, or identifier that's in some other website, buyer journey, user journey tracking tools, and so forth. And Raabia, I know we built this recently for the same mid-market customer, right?
Right.
So that's the distinction I would draw between, how we are approaching the market, Sri. And I think the other key takeaway was that we're trying to be focused squarely on the end user, the growth marketer, the demand marketer, the sales manager, and and then let some of the more complex, workflow building all happen in another tool, as you can see in the way we are approaching the market.
That's
So
interesting.
the distinction between the where we see the focus for us was we see the focus for Clay. Yeah, back to you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a good summary. And you did talk about how we have focused on the best in class offering around bringing in all of the different signals. Can
Yeah.
you talk to how comprehensive that is to give the audience a bit of a feel for, what areas of the signals we are really, catching and unifying?
Yeah, no, I think we've covered quite a bit of it, which is we're trying to be all pre-built, ready to go, and not leave a lot of the decisioning back on the customer. So we're trying to make it easy for them, and then try to be, very make it an easy decision, right? Because again, we are a completely usage-based pricing with a credit-based pricing model. There's no platform fee, no per user fee, and they can quickly do the math, and they'll realize that, okay, I got to put so many hours in here of RevOps and GTM ops time. And if I add up all the effort plus the cost I'm going to pay, including what I call the Clay tax, all in all, they're going to net out that, hey, this is so much more easier to do, right? So that is the key, at least in my view. And we have a lot of information here. I don't want to get into all those details, certainly just today. But in terms of differentiation, I mean, as I called out, we also think, the idea of pre-built, pre-packaged, ready to consume, ready to use signals is going to become more and more important. And certainly, I mean, we see a lot of opportunity for continuing to mine a range of signals and bringing it and making it more consumable, right? So through us, and then the pre-stitching of the record, you can't underestimate the value of that. And this, Sri, right? Because we have so many CDP companies that are now interested in partnering with us. And maybe since you've been dealing with some of that, you can talk to that a little bit. Yeah, and the value.
Yeah, I mean, I think the impact of bringing the signals in and feeding it into the CDP system so that the follow-up actions and outreach can be combined with existing customer signals is highly impactful. So that's another powerful value proposition. But Mani, I was going to ask you, one of the things that marketers also want to know is how we support account-based use cases. If I'm really doing account-based marketing,
Right.
and I want to capture signals, can you talk through some of the stuff that you have that supports use cases for an account-based marketer?
Yeah. So I think if you think about account-based marketers, there is clearly the table stakes. I call it table stakes is just de-anonymizing company level signals on the website. And so that's something, that the ABM company's been doing for a while, and, as you know, we've had that history ourselves of being able to resolve at a company level. So you've got your, all the ABM companies, right? They've been doing that, as well as all the big data players also offer that. The account base, the other aspect of account base is being able to build highly targeted account lists. And then, as you know, besides our tech, we also have a companion service offerings. So we've been partnering with some really high quality, managed service partners who are able to do things people want, such as deep account research, right? So to be able to take all of our valuable data and then to be able to research the account, research individual prospects, do message personalization, outbound messaging, personalized messaging service is one of what things that we offer. And so besides campaigns and workflows as a managed service, we also have the personalized messaging as a service. Those are some of the things I can think of. And account-based, of course, the other part is once you know who are the accounts that are engaging with you, everybody wants to know who are the buyers in that account, which is like a buying group or buying committee that I need to engage with. And Raabia, I think you may have touched upon that, and it might be worth, if you want to quickly show people how we help with identifying not just the companies, but turn it into a segment. And then from the segment, how do you build out the buying group, buying committee? And then you can essentially do what's called buying group expansion. So Sri, if it makes sense, it will take a couple of minutes just to show people what that looks
Why
like.
not? Why not? I think we have still a few more minutes left.
Yeah. So Raabia, if you want to show that, please. Yeah.
So yes, so we have all the data unified in our Signals Hub, which includes website, offsite, contact monitoring, as well as social monitoring and account intelligence. So if I go into AI Playmaker, so here we have different segments. We can create different segments, and this is all for the marketers, and you don't need much technical, query-based system as well here. So for example, if we start creating the segment, so very straightforward, whether you want a contact or account segment or static or dynamic. And you just need to write a prompt in simple English language based on whatever criteria you want. Say, for example, create a segment with website warm leads and who have visited my high value pages or who from these industries or revenue, say 50 million plus. So you just need to write here and we'll start generating the segment. Once that segment is created and say I can just bring up any existing one. So if I see here, so yeah, so you have you have created this segment with offsite and website warm leads from the software industry and who have visited more than 3 pages. So you'll generate, okay, there are 4 contacts in this segment. You can also then add buying group expansion. So if I enable this, we just need the title keywords. So whatever relevant titles you have, so you need to upload that title keyword list here, and whatever contacts then we search for similar the uploaded contact titles in those accounts. So your contact list, it will get expanded and all the relevant contacts will be there. Once this list is created, and you can just set up your delivery to either Slack, and we have Slack, Clay as well, or outgoing webhook. So any third-party application, you can write the data. You can start writing the segments into your outbound campaign tools and all, so that everything can be very automated and dynamic, because you don't need to then manually check. Once your data is coming in from website or offsite or other signals, they'll automatically go into the correct segment, and from that segment they'll go into your tools for your campaigns. So starting from the signals till the campaign launch, everything will be fully automated using this AI Playmaker. Yeah.
Fabulous. That's great. I mean, that's comprehensive support. And I think the other use case I can think of is when you talk open-based marketing in many large companies or mid-market companies, they want to go after white space accounts or competitive accounts, and the contact monitoring that we have, because usually there's reps identified for those patches, but they have no pipeline, and it's a harder work to go into white space or into competitive accounts. And the contact monitoring that we do to really almost like do a reverse Google style search on, here's a list of contacts, and I want to know when they are in market searching through third-party websites for anything related to our products and offerings. to be able to feed that signal back in is incredibly valuable for that segment of account-based marketing as a use case. So it's great.
Mhm.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's try to bring it home. Really, I think I have um, just a broad question to try and wrap it up. So, Mani, tell me, if customers already got Clay, we start talking about to Clay or not to Clay, and we gave some good views on if you're an SMB customer versus a mid-market customer, how would you set this up if you had a clean sheet of paper? The customers already got Clay, talk through how Quanzu fits into the picture and how they can maximize the value that Quanzu brings in
Yeah.
as a value add adjacent offering to if I already have Clay.
Yeah. So let's assume, the customer already has Clay, right? So one is that we would encourage customers to kick off, call it a parallel deployment, and then put a little bit of budget into our tech, and then compare the quality and efficacy of data for different types of signals. So they can start with website warm leads, look at natively what are they getting, what's the resolution rate, for every 100 visitors, are they getting 5 here, are they getting 5 here, are they overlapping, are they complementary, are they getting a larger base, right, of leads that they can go action. So that's one thing we would suggest. If you look at offsite intent leads that we saw, that's pretty unique to us. So that's another additive signal, right? Let me find individual buyers off my website that I should go bring in and start actioning, could be very complementary to Clay. So they could decide to pursue that angle, right? What we do with contact monitoring, to your point, where they can load 10,000, say, work emails of their best accounts, their top prospects of those accounts, all the right buyers, to be able to then understand who these people are, and then know when they are showing, buying intent, buying signals, both on the web and on social channels, where social channels could be through other handles, social handles. That is very valuable, and that with us, as you know, is set up, it's ready to go, it's easy to action. It'll take a bunch more work in our view, right over there. And by the way, our pricing, we think, is very, very attractive, in the sense, as you know, we priced it so that it's a fixed fee per monitored contact per month, regardless of how many times those signals, right, hit. Are they going to come back 3 times during the month? Are they going to come back just once during the month? It's a very, we think, a predictable cost model and pricing model. Versus the big unknown with Clay, we've heard, is sometimes there's runaway credits. Literally, you may have 1,000 accounts and a bunch of contacts, and you want to get some signals for them, and it's like hard to predict and hard to budget and hard to model out for the typical growth or demand marketer. Versus here, we can give them a predictable cost, saying, okay, budget X dollars, and it's going to cover Y number of contacts for you to monitor and keep track of all through the month, because those are your most high value accounts. You can't take your eyes off of them. You need to have your sales teams in different territories that may bring in some of those contacts and say, I want to be on top of these people. You may have your marketing team, your PR team, to say, look, these 200 are our analysts and key influencers. We need to stay on top of them, and we need our executives to kind of engage with them. So there's a whole way to build out all of this constant signal monitoring capability. It's very simple and easy to set up with predictability of costs, and hopefully significant value in terms of outcomes. So that's kind of how I would sum it up, Sri. I don't know, Raabia, if you have anything to add to what I said.
Yeah, so definitely. So basically, if you have seen the demo, so complexity wise as well as automation as well. So I guess signals up that it definitely takes mark over Clay. But yes, if you use it along with Clay as well, so that also for some companies that could also work well.
Right, and then the right way to use that tech would be where there are niche signals and very specialized signals, certain company level signals that are, to be perfectly candid, right, we don't offer today. So there's a way to kind of balance the two and put the two together and put more value out in terms of outcomes. Yeah, Sri.
Great. Okay, that is really a good conversation. I hope it gives the viewers a fairly good perspective of when to use Kwanzaa's Signals Hub, when to use Clay, how to coexist. What do you do if you're an SMB customer? What do you do if you're a mid-market customer? And how
Yeah.
you can specialize more. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, Mani?
No, I think the whole space, in my view, is going to continue to be very, very dynamic, right? I mean, you're going to have a bunch of new tech, available for customers to consider. And that said, it's important for each of us, right, to have clarity in terms of where we are and where we continue to evolve our independent, solutions. And hopefully, we've done a decent job, Sri, right, of communicating where we kind of fit into the what I call the signal-based tech landscape. Um, but with that,
Okay.
let me put up this final slide, Sri, and we can let people know, right, how they can continue the conversation with us. Yeah, back to you.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
So thanks again for an engaging conversation. Thanks for inviting me to be part of this, Money. I think this is how I think if people want to continue the conversation, can reach out to either Money or me, and we can chat with you, see how we can help your organizations, whether in SMB or mid market or large organization, and for your respective use cases. So we're looking forward to further engaging, on LinkedIn or other platforms with you. And appreciate your time this morning. And talk to you in the next GTM talk show next Thursday. Thank you so much.
All right. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us today. And that concludes episode 45 of AI GTM Talks. We'll see you all again next week.